finals between the Woodstock High Thunder and the Rothesay Redhawks. Getting the clock set up here. Officials having some conversations. Everybody's waiting patiently on the floor. Gets the big nod for the ball toss. Woodstock wins the tip. Maya Graham brings the ball up. Both teams' 5th game of the weekend. Maya Graham goes in for the 2-point layup. 2:30 game. Woodstock played Canterbury and suffocating defense the entire game. Took a lead early with Canterbury and just played a really fundamentally sound and strong defense, creating all kinds of challenges for the Canterbury guards. Ended up with a fairly sizable win for their 4th game of the tournament to get them here. Rothesay also had 4 games, played Stanley, Cole St. Anne, Harvey, and the Fundy, and only beat Harvey by 2. Hard-fought game to get them here to the finals of the MIBT. So it'll be interesting to see who's got more legs in this game. You know, the 5th game of a weekend is extremely taxing, and the athleticism and the stamina of the teams becomes evident here. It'll be interesting to see just how much gas is in the tank for these girls. So far, 2-2, 9 minutes in, just a minute into this game. Great defense from number 14, Allison Doucette from Rothesay. Big block. Layup missed by Rothesay. Got to take advantage of those opportunities when you do get that close to the hoop. Another post-up move. Going to be an and one for number 12, Danielle Alexander. 3 the old-fashioned way, or potential for it anyway. This is the free throw. Rothesay comes away with the rebound. Pass into the corner, doesn't make it. Based on some of the conversations I've had with folks that have watched the games here earlier, this will probably be a very solid matchup all the way through. Rothesay reigning provincial champs. Woodstock runners-up, so rematch, if I remember correctly, from the NBIA Final 12 in Harbor Station. Woodstock struggling to get the ball through the hoop, but ending up with offensive rebounds. Foul committed there by number 13 from Rothesay High, Sophie Lewis. Hacking the paint, not allowing Woodstock to have anything. Jump ball. Should be Rothesay's ball because Woodstock won it off the tip. Sure enough it is. I've got a memory that goes back 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Great move. Not rewarded halfway down, but a good pass inside for number 14, Allison Doucette, just unable to finish there. Scores 4-2. Not a lot of outside shots happening. That's a good mid-ranger. Number 12 having her way, Danielle Alexander. Again, another ball just barely rolled out. Dangerous save inside. First mid-ranger taken from Rothesay. Didn't find its mark. Always a little bit dangerous saving that ball on the baseline under your opponent's rim. Great inlet pass. Good C, scored by number 6, Emma Gaban. Early substitution. Inoa Fernandez, exchange student. If I remember correctly, and please folks from Woodstock if you're listening, I think from Brazil. One of the playmakers from the game I watched against Canterbury, lots of skill. Also electing to take a little bit of time.
Good job.
A little bit too deep on that play. Ended up having to throw the ball back in as opposed to have it go out of bounds. Woodstock will set up in the offense again. Inoa with the ball, passes it in. Another foul by number 12, Allie Lewis. Woodstock with an 8-2 lead here. I don't think that's going to be indicative of how this game ends. Expecting a little bit of a closer game. First one of the 2 free throws missed by Emma Godin. Offensive rebound by Woodstock. Good hands and passing lanes by the Rothesay team. Inlet pass. Ball's there. Another short opportunity missed by Rothesay. Rothesay looking to trying to get into a scoring groove here, but committed 3 fouls 3 times down the floor. That's going to be a problem for them as this game progresses. They got to do a better job about forcing people outside of the paint. Avery DeMerchant at the line. Misses the first. So anybody from Woodstock that wants to chime in about the hometown of their number 1, Inoa Fernandez, it's at RC Drost. Anybody with the Twitter handle? 3-point attempt missed. Outlet pass. A real chance. 3 on.
Good job.
Back.
Woodstock doing a great job rebounding today. Ball forced out of bounds. Woodstock maintains possession. Substitutions in. Emma Shaw for Rothesay. 11th grader. I know I hit a few of those in the Canterbury game. Ball picked up. Woodstock running down the floor. Got to get a cutter. Has one. Good layup. But for the 3rd time, that ball is just not going down. Having some bad luck with the rims there. Foul on the floor. Will not go to the free throw line. Rothesay continuing to be aggressive to get to that rim. 5-second call or a foul on number 9, sorry. Deanna Bartley. Rothesay doing their best to get to the hoop. There's a cheater that finally one goes down from the right-hand side. When I say cheater, someone trying to intercept a pass, ends up 2 steps past their opponent, gives them a chance at more of a wide-open layup. Fortunate miss by Woodstock for Rothesay. This to potentially cut it from an 8-2 lead to an 8-6 lead. be a battle, folks. Rothesay with lots of skill and experience, certainly Woodstock as well. Two really evenly matched teams. Know each other well. The coaching staff likely knows the other coaches' strategies as well. So it should be a really entertaining game for us to watch today. And so far, early in, 3:44 left. In the quarter, saved by number 6 from Woodstock.
Good job,
Emma Gadan. It's a bonus situation, that foul that Rothesay commits. Would have been difficult for Woodstock to score from there, and that's always a challenge that coaches have with their players. Sometimes fouls are committed when you're trying to prevent baskets. Number 7, Maya Graham, hits the front end of the two. And this is the second. Rothesay comes up with the rebound. Woodstock content to play really strong defense, doing a good job with it, being rewarded, and a nice layup by Rothesay, number 4, Annika Bagno. The score is 9-8. Both teams getting into a more offensive flow. Woodstock looking to post up, and they do.
Good job, Charlie.
No box out for Rothesay, so Woodstock ends up with a offensive rebound, but an errant pass sends the ball out of bounds in the backcourt. So Rothesay gets the ball a little bit closer to their hoop. Substitution for Rothesay. In comes number 2, Abby Searle. Gotten one tweet so far, and it's a bit of a cheater tweet. It's from Phil Drost, my counterpart, who hopes to be here for the second half of this game and for the entire men's final. Had to work today, so was unfortunately not able to be by my side for the first 2.5 games. But is committed to come and provide some commentary for hopefully half of this game and the men's final. So again, Woodstock in the bonus, taking 2 shots here for a foul. Maya Graham looking to hit the second of 2, but doesn't. Jump ball situation, Woodstock wins the ball back. Very close to a 5-second count here. Rothesay ends up with the ball. Nobody breaking out, so they have to be content to get into a half-court set. Good move, not rewarded. Half a step closer to the backboard would have been good for her, but really good attempt. Noah, really good touch around the rim. Woodstock elects to move their defense back into the half court.
Good job.
Another foul by Rothesay.
Good help, Em.
So this is the 8th team foul this quarter. That's going to create some serious issues for them as this game gets older. Woodstock's making substitutions. Into the game comes Maggie Dunlop. Woodstock taking advantage there. Ellie Beaton hits the front end of the 2 free throws. And makes them pay by hitting both substitutions in for Rothesay. Number 8, Kathleen Daly. Rothesay making some good passing. That's going to be a 3 if it goes, but an offensive rebound makes a big difference. Woodstock gets some hands on the ball, but the possession arrow goes to Rothesay. 13-8, 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Woodstock leads. Good sidestep expecting a little contact. That ball doesn't end up hitting rim, but a great sidestep to get to the rim the way she was. Great pass inside. Woodstock doing a good job recognizing Cutter, pushing that lead to 15-8. Rothesay not doing a bad job of getting to the rim either, but just not able to get that ball to go down. Forcing the ball inside. Rothesay ends up with the steal. Great backboard shot. Number 12, Allie Lewis. You can tell she does that a lot. It's the confidence in her face, the way she approaches that shot. She knows what she's doing. Great out that pass. This is a really good move by Rothesay to get to the hoop. Number 2, Abby Searle scores on the fast break. Cuts that lead to 3, 15-12. Woodstock, 45 seconds left in the first quarter. Long ranger. Only good for 2 though. But I know has a knack for scoring. And I'm not going to say she has a knack for fouling, but she did just foul. But it's only the 14th foul, so Rothesay will not be going to the charity stripe. 17-12, 30 seconds left. Great cutter here. No one was stopping her, not entirely sure why Abby Searle didn't just go all the way to the rim. Gave her the defense enough time to stop and block her shot, but she'll think about that one next time. What a great pass. Hernandez. Good recognition of where her teammates are. Rothesay. Looking to go to the rim. Great shot. Doesn't go down, but good decision by the Rothesay team. Down 19-12 after the first quarter. Quick opportunity to give a little shout out to the sponsors for the MIBT, Taylor Printing Group, local printing company here in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Meet any and all of your printing needs. Fastenal, the city of Fredericton, University of Brunswick, of course. We're broadcasting from the Richard J. Curry Center. One of the nicer venues in Atlantic Canada. I could be a little bit biased about that. But a lot of good comments from folks that come from away to visit us. Home of the UNB Reds men's and women's basketball and volleyball teams. Lots of great action here from those 4 AUS teams, sorry. Not seeing the same type of intense defense from Rothesay that we saw against Canterbury, and likely that has a little bit to do with the fatigue factor, how much energy it takes to play defense in that front court, and to carry that through the entire game. That is a huge challenge, especially the 5th game of the weekend. Medals need to be given for any team that plays 5 games in a single weekend. It's incredible the amount of energy that's expired in doing this. So kudos to the coaching staff for having these girls in such good shape. Fitness is important, and it often shines through in the second half of the third quarter, and usually all the way through the fourth quarter. The teams with the fitness are the teams that finish strong, and often at the end of those games you'll find teams pulling away, and again, not always based on skill but based on fitness. And we'll see how these two teams go. Fairly evenly matched first quarter, although Woodstock has a 7-point lead. Rothesay's had lots of good chances, clearly not being outplayed by Woodstock. I know in for the layup, rebound by Rothesay. Rothesay doing a really good job rebounding the ball today. another one of those shots that, you know, oftentimes will go down, but bounces off the back of the rim just a little bit too strong. Got to the right place on the floor for sure. Their offense had played really well. Foul on number 14. Allison Doucette, shooting foul. Danielle Alexander will go to the line for 2. Misses the first. And misses the second, but offensive rebound counts. Rothesay comes up with the ball, but travels, giving it back to Woodstock. Trying to put 14 on the shot clock. I'm wondering why they do that. I think the NBIAA goes to 24 on the offensive rebound. I have to ask the officials about that at halftime, but I did ask last game if the NBIAA went to the 24-second reset on a offensive rebound, and I was told that they do go back to 24, and the 14 is the AUS FIBA rules. That'll be an interesting discussion. Noah throws up a long 3. Fernandez. Rothesay comes up with the rebound. Strong to the hoop, but gets stripped of the ball.
Go, Maggie, go to the corner.
Woodstock moving the ball around, swinging it, trying to find an open lane. Mid-range jump shot. Rothesay with an opportunity to cut into this lead. The score still 19-12. Been that way since the quarter started. Rothesay to the hoop. Another missed opportunity. Another missed opportunity. Offensive rebound. And the foul by number 14. That's her second this quarter. Allison Doucette. 2 quick fouls. And she's doing a good job of protecting Woodstock from getting to that rim. Also strips the ball from the Woodstock player. Hernandez going to go one-on-one and gets blocked. Clean block. Let's see if Allison Doucette gets subbed out. She does, having picked up that second foul here in the second quarter. Coach is going to want to protect her a little bit. Almost stepped in bounds there. Woodstock moving the ball around. Rothesay playing good defense. Pretty numbers here. We got a block on number 11 for Woodstock. Only their first team foul this quarter. I'm going to check my Twitter handle here and see if my Twitter feed is broken. Haven't heard from anybody today except for Phil. At RC Gross. Doing the Women's Championship game at the MIBT. Long range shot by Woodstock doesn't go. Woodstock coach screaming at his girls to get back on D after that defensive rebound by Rothesay. Woodstock picks up their second foul of the quarter. And pass out of bounds. Woodstock regains the ball. 6:55 left in the second quarter. Not a blistering score by any means. Really, no points, as far as I can tell, being scored this quarter. It was 19-12 after the first quarter. Held ball situation. Woodstock has the possession. Nope. Rothesay has the possession arrow. Rothesay having the better scoring chances, just not able to capitalize on them so far this game. It's a layup, hit the bottom of the backboard, not able to get to the rim. So Rothesay not capitalizing on the chances they're getting in the paint. Balls are rimming out, being a bit unlucky. Woodstock themselves, same thing, settling for mid-rangers right now, not getting to the rim. Rothesay doing a good job at keeping Woodstock outside. Long range shot. Woodstock runs the ball. They're going to try for a long range shot as well. That hits nothing. There you go. The first basket of the quarter at 5:56. Let's go, Rip. So team struggling to score right now. 21-12 for Woodstock. 5:39 left in the second quarter. Rothesay's got to find a way to score too. They've been dry. Here's a long range. It's 3. So that's changed.
All right, you're set. Let's go.
See if Rothesay uses that as a bit of a spark plug. Again, Rothesay doing a good job at protecting that rim. And except for didn't touch anything, so another opportunity for Woodstock to increase their lead. Bad pass intercepted, should have a 1-on-none. Layup there. 23-17, 6-point lead, 4:57 left to go in this women's championship game. The Richard J. Curry Center, MIBT, 4th annual, I believe. Largest high school basketball tournament in Atlantic Canada. Number 5 from Woodstock, Claire Cook.
Turn around!
Nails it over the shoulder to pump that lead back up to 8. Rothesay working the ball around well right now. He's got caught. And a nice runner by number 12, Allie Lewis. 25-19, 4:23 left in the second quarter. Very evenly matched teams here. Red wins that fight. 3 players being subbed in for Woodstock, 2 for Rothesay. And you would expect to see that in the 5th game of a weekend tournament, that they'd have to go to their bench a lot, give a little extra breathers to the girls. I see some red faces, and you can certainly understand why. They'll sleep well tonight when they get to their destination. Both have about an hour and 15-minute drive to get home. What a great layup by number 12. Allie Lewis doing a good job of getting to the hoop, but not only that, knowing where her feet are and know exactly how far she is from the rim without having to stare at it. Nice job by Lewis. So 25-21, big block there by Rothesay. Got a chance to make this a single possession game, almost a backcourt violation, but manage it. Inside it goes, and a foul. Really only the second time we've seen them go to Allison Doucette inside, and she manages to get the ball up and get fouled. Misses the front end of her 2 free throws. 3:30 left in this second quarter, 25-21. Misses both. Rothesay's going to have to get back quickly because we know how fast this Woodstock team is, and they like to get to the rim. Errant pass causes a turnover. Rothesay with another chance to make this a 2-point game. Or 1 with a 3, but Neither team's shooting a lot of three-pointers. There's been one or two made in this game, but the higher percentage shots have been coming from the paint. And here's a post move. Again, really using her size, Allison Doucette, to grab that ball and to turn and really make a nice post move to make this a two-point game, 25-23. Woodstock moving the ball around. Long three. Good box out. There's a chance to go tie the game. Rothesay moving the ball well, forcing Woodstock to call a timeout. Rothesay getting into a more of a scoring groove. Tying that game with 2:41 left. Mentioned it early in the broadcast that this was likely going to be a very evenly matched game between these two teams. They know each other so well. They've met on a number of occasions, and my guess is they'll probably meet again before the season's over. And this one's for a bit of pride and taking a banner home and getting your name on that trophy. To come into this tournament, again, the largest basketball tournament in Atlantic Canada. Teams from Nova Scotia and New Brunswick competing, and a lot of games in a weekend. 5 games for each of these teams. So there's a lot of basketball being played. So, to recap, the Woodstock High had to get through Tantramar, Hants East, Funday, and Canterbury. Had a big win over Canterbury, and Rothesay High had to get over Stanley, Cole St. Anne, and Harvey, and Fundy. Now, it could be there's a game in there Woodstock has that I haven't listed. Again, if someone in Woodstock has Twitter and has some intimate knowledge of this, I went to a couple of the games on Friday. At Ecole St. Anne, but have been sort of out of the loop with other sporting events this weekend, so this is really the first solid look I've had at these teams at the tournament. So, great impact pass. Good understanding of who she's passing through, too. Players have to understand who's on their team and who's able to grab down those passes. This is a three if it goes, and it does. So this is, I think, the first lead that Rothesay is going to have in this game with 2:03 left in the second quarter. Really scoring. Again, I look up at the scoreboard a few minutes ago and thought, man, this is a potential to be a low-scoring game. And now it looks like it's got potential to be somewhat average, 27-28. You double those to get in the 50s or 60s, and that's not a bad score for a high school game. In fact, a lot of defense being played here. To keep teams, from scoring 30 points in a quarter. Not going to happen with these two teams. It's very well-coached squads and disciplined players. She reached in and grabbed that one and committed that foul, number 12. Allie Lewis feels bad about that one, but possibly prevented a basket. Rothesay with the rebound. Just a little too deep to make that one go. Rothesay ends up with the ball there. 1:13 left. 28-27. Rothesay with the lead. 1:06 left in this half of the game. Looking for a give and go there. Mid-ranger up and in. It's not a mid-ranger. It's a 3. 4-point lead now for Rothesay over Woodstock. Woodstock got a chance to go 2 for 1 here. Good rebound for Rothesay. Lots of time to score the basketball if needed. Ball's worked around. Offensive rebound for Rothesay, very timely. Ball put in really well. Perfect pass from Allison Doucette. Number 2, Abby Searle. Another big block by Allison Doucette. Rothesay starting to get a little bit of a groove here. 6.3 seconds left. 6-point lead by Rothesay. Is Woodstock going to be able to get one up? Yes, they do. But that's how the quarter and the half will end. A 27-33. Rothesay with a big surge with 4 minutes left in this quarter to go from being down, I believe it was 8, to being up 6. So stats will show that that's a big drought for Woodstock. But my guess is the second half will be more of the same, and we'll see if Woodstock comes out with a little bit more of that pressure defense.
White. Let's go, Red. White ball.
Welcome back to the second half of the MIBT Finals. The women's division, Rothesay Redhawks against the Woodstock High Thunder. Rothesay with a flurry of scoring to end that second quarter to take a 6-point lead, down 8 for a lot of the time, 7 or 8, but at least the score was 19-12 for a good part of that second quarter. And Rothesay on a scoring run. That scoring run is continuing now. They're up 35-27. Woodstock's got to find a way to put a stop to that and get some scoring of their own. Only scored 8 points that quarter. Underhanded layup, but offensive rebound just missed. The Hustle are going to win this quarter. Rothesay feeling a little bit more confident. And that's often the spark plug of what it takes to get a team going. There's a good stand-up play there by number 7, Maya Graham. Yeah, Maya Graham stood up hard and took the charge. And it is often little plays like that. It's not often the big things, it's often the little things that change momentum. And that's one of them. Good inside pass, just a bare miss by Woodstock, but a good look there for them. Back quickly on defense. Allison, near miss off the glass. Woodstock looking to attack again. Struggling with ball control.
Dribble.
6 on the shot clock. Woodstock's got to go in, and they do. Rothesay gets a rebound. Has someone cutting up the middle, but moves to the left-hand side, waiting for her teammates to get back to set up some offense there. Inlet pass. Allison gets the ball and easy lay-in. Strong move from Allison Doucette. Woodstock trying to get some inside game of their own going. Ball's back out up top. Let's go out of bounds. Substitutions for Woodstock. I know Fernandez back in. The scoring spark plug for Woodstock. Got a few minutes breather to start this quarter. They're going to need her to get to the rim and get some points here to stop this bleeding. 37-27. Rothesay just working harder right now on offense. Here's a three-pointer from the corner. Number 6, Grace Tilley. Woodstock just finds itself down 13 now. Noah's going to try and find a way to the hoop. Mid-ranger. And as he predicted when she came into the game, she gets to provide that spark plug, but Woodstock can't forget to get back on defense. Mid-ranger. Allison Doucette showing her range, playing a great post-up game, but also able to hit from the baseline. Doing a good job at extending that lead again for Rothesay. More substitutions in the game for Rothesay and Woodstock. Everything going Rothesay's way right now, 13-point lead. Point lead, 6:43 left in the third quarter. This championship game at the MIBT Maritime Invitational. Woodstock steals that pass away. Noah Fernandez, she can shoot the three, has shot the three, in and out. Ball saved on the offensive rebound. Back to Inoa. Ball's outside. Gonna cut to the rim. Rothesay just playing great defense. This is a long two. If it goes, lots of scrambling for the ball, but Rothesay ends up with it. Rothesay just working really hard, getting an offensive rebound there, and then scoring. So difficult now for Woodstock to get anything going. Allison Doucette just blocking everything. She did right there. She's got such long arms, creating challenges for Woodstock to get that ball through that baseline pass. By Woodstock. Good run to the rim. 31-44, 5 minutes left. Woodstock needs to go on a bit of a run here to get this thing back into range. Allison Doucette makes that good spin move to the left. Gonna need that double to show up on her. Woodstock moving the ball around. Number 7 Woodstock. 33-46. Can't trade baskets here, but that's exactly what's going on. Rothesay scoring every time down the floor. That one by Allie Lewis. Everybody getting into the action here for Rothesay. Woodstock's got to find a way to stop, to get some early stops. This is a 3-point by Inoa. She is the spark plug. Scored 5 points since she's come in this second half. That's the lead to 12. Can't be content to trade baskets, so there's a triple team causing the travel. Woodstock brings the ball back. 4:02 left. More substitutions in the game. 3 for Rothesay, 2 for Woodstock. Only 1 team foul committed this quarter, so a very clean basketball game. Officials have good control over what's happening out there. Inoa just a little bit too strong. Always love to see kids using that backboard. This is 3 if it goes. Halfway down, offensive foul by Rothesay. Pass almost intercepted by Woodstock. 18 seconds on the shot clock. 3:29 left in the third quarter of this championship game. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Looking for a baseline move here. They gave one. Rothesay again, another offensive rebound, but gives the ball up, so Woodstock has a chance now. Don't have numbers. Good move and an offensive rebound by Woodstock and the foul. That's really what you're looking for, especially on those offensive rebounds. You want your team to gather and go back up with it, catch the defense on their heels, draw a foul, potential end one, and that's what happened here. Woodstock just down 12. Certainly not out of reach. Lots of time left in this game. This is both free throws, and that's not the first time they've missed both free throws. Those tend to count. And that up, mid-ranger by Rothesay, rebound by Woodstock, so things are going better on the rebounding side. But they don't. Noah. Big block by the Rothesay player.
Guys, talk to each other. Let's get a stop.
intercepted pass. Big drop again. So big block by the Rothesay coming back in. Five count, just avoided it. Will Fernandez, step back, does not go. Got to take more advantage of their scoring opportunities. Good defense. Big three, bounce off the front of the rim, and that goes down. Allie Lewis doing a great job of building that lead for her team. Woodstock doing a good job of trying to get to the rim. Being patient. Good Ranger. And it's good. Number 11 from Woodstock, Allie Beaton. Lead at 13. Again, lots of time left in this game. So that was a foul on the shot. Rothesay will go to the line with 1:45 left in the third quarter of this important championship game. And not only that, but this matchup between these two AA teams here in New Brunswick. Met at Harbor Station a number of times. Rothesay coming out on the winning end in 2019. Good rivalry. Yesterday was Rivalry Saturday in the NCAA football world. Today you might call it Rivalry Sunday at the Richard J. Curry Center. There's an offensive rebound that just makes all the difference in the world. Woodstock again content to move that ball around. 11 on the shot clock. That's a three that doesn't go. Scores table tiny bit late on the shot clock reset. But here we are, 1:15 left in this quarter. Rothesay with a 15-point lead. Got a travel violation against Rothesay. So Philip Drost has joined us.
Yeah, I have. Good to be here.
Yeah, I've been kind of missing you. I've been having to drink lots of water and take both sides of this, but I'm glad that you were able to come down and help out the folks here at the MIBT by providing some color for the rest of this game. And for the next game, I'm going to hand the reins over to you, and I'll kind of sit in the background and let you control. But yeah, so far I had some entertaining games this afternoon.
Well, I was sad I had to miss all this basketball. You know, there's so much basketball going on in Fredericton this weekend, and, you know, sometimes you just got to go to work instead. But here I am now.
Yeah, here you are now, and you've brought me some food, which is critical, because I go from one event to the other, didn't really get a chance to eat much today, but you've saw it in your heart to bring some food for me. I appreciate that.
Look, just like the players on the court are getting some assists, I'm able to get an assist too.
Oh, yes, sir, you did. So this is kind of our home. Philip and I, again, as mentioned, do the broadcast for the men's Reds team here at UNB for a number of years now. And he's helped out at the National U17 men's tournament as well. And having a lot of fun doing these games today, these semifinal and final games. So Woodstock cut the lead to 11 now. 15 seconds left in this quarter.
And nice drive there, just couldn't get the layup to drop. That's one you want to have back by the end of the game.
Yeah, no one misses that one, but she's got to keep
So 9-point game rather. Tell me, I know I've missed the first 3 quarters of this. What's the story? What's kind of happening?
Well, so I'll tell you about the game before that I watched, where Woodstock defeated Canterbury by a very healthy margin. But that was a single A, double A matchup, both from upriver. Schools about a half an hour from each other. Woodstock really put on a great defensive effort, really pressed Canterbury in most of the game, and was able to come up with a lot of tips and a lot of head manners that got them some fast breaks just by playing really solid get-to-it defense. And this game started out with Woodstock really controlling the game as well. Rothesay struggling to get to the basket. It was just really the last 3 minutes of the second quarter that Rothesay was able to go on an 8 or 10-0 run and really put some effort forth on the defensive glass as well, keeping Woodstock away from it. So really, what was really for the, a better part of 2 quarters, almost 2 quarters, was just a 2 or 3 point game. Woodstock was behind by 7 at some points, or Rothesay was behind by 7 or 8 at some points, but this got into a really good scoring groove and ended up taking the lead. And here they have the lead. I would say that these are really teams that are well matched up. I would say what the difference for Rothesay right now is they've had some really good post play by number 14. Allison Doucette has been the difference. She's had a couple of good spin moves. She's blocked a lot of shots and really given her team the advantage.
And as you can see, if you're looking across the court, they're playing for a banner here. I found whenever a tournament had a banner, it just made it all that more important to win, right? Winning a tournament is great, but if it's got something you can put on your wall, it's a little bit of extra motivation to get the win. I'm sure both these teams still in the running here to get the chip.
Yeah, there's 10 minutes left, and both teams have gone on mini scoring runs, and that can happen here. But Rothesay, the keys for a Rothesay win are to really kind of keep doing what they've been doing by protecting the paint, keeping Woodstock on the outside, and what's interesting to me is that what I consider one of the better players for Woodstock is this international student, Ainoa Fernandez. She's really been a scoring spark plug for them, certainly in that Canterbury game. And when she's come into the game against Rothesay as well, I'm wondering if she's a little bit injured because she's really come in 3 or 4 minutes into the quarter. Maybe she's struggling with an illness or something like that. But she really has been a great guard for Woodstock.
And always very frustrating if you aren't feeling great and there's a big game on the line. You always want to be on the court, right? But I'm sure Woodstock will still give it their best here as they try and win the tournament.
Yeah, both teams are very well coached. You can tell by the way the girls move on the floor that they listen well to the coaching staff. Rarely are they missing defensive assignments, and they're really just playing good fundamental high school basketball. Good kick out by the post player, and look what happens. Right, the defense collapses on her. This Allison Doucette. She requires a lot of respect from the defense, but allowing those outside shots. So we're back up to a 13-point lead, but lots of time left. So I'm going to ask you, because it's come up a couple of times during this broadcast already, Philip. It's my understanding that the NBIAA is doing a 24-second reset on a rim shot and not a 14. I was told that by an official yesterday, and that FIBA and AUS is going to 14. Or is that also in the NBIAA? Because I know you're coaching in the NBIAA.
I thought it was 24 seconds, or 14 seconds rather, on a rim shot. But, if the ref says it, they probably know a little bit more than me, but not always.
The reason it's come up is because I've been watching the score clock resets during the last 2.5 games, and it's been incredibly inconsistent. Not that I want to give any challenges to the people on the score clock, but I wonder if the different scorekeepers are unsure, because right now it's reset to 24.
Well, let's see what the ref says. Well, they're actually just asking about a foul there. So yeah, it looks like they're staying it here at 24 seconds. Interesting. Unless maybe when it hits if it goes to the other team, they put it to 14, or it goes to the offensive team. Let's see. And it stays at 24. So interesting.
Clock hasn't even started, though. That's a part of the problem altogether.
That is a challenge. Still at 8:10 after about 10 seconds. Now it's going. But Rothesay didn't need too much time to drain that three.
Yeah, that's causing some serious headaches because Rothesay's found their range from the outside. Reach there, got away with one. That's a carry. He knew it immediately. But it's a 12-point lead. Lots of time left. But stops is the key before that clock becomes the enemy. I really think that they need multiple stops in a row to chop into this lead.
And in today's game, I mean, I know you and I have talked about this all the time, but with the invention of the three-point shot, if you have a couple shooters, you can erase a lead pretty quickly. You know, you hit a three, you get a steal, you hit another shot, all of a sudden that lead can be cut in half. And it really makes basketball a ton of fun to watch, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, the team with the 10-point lead certainly has the advantage, but no one's out of it.
Right. So just some pesky defense by Rothesay, kind of taking over where Woodstock left off, and there's a foul.
And it takes some very high IQ players to be able to recognize when you have that contact and when to take the shot, because sometimes some players, they feel like they're getting fouled and they chuck up a shot and the ref disagrees. But when you have a player who knows when they're going to get that foul and can put up a shot, very valuable.
Yeah, free throw's been a problem with Woodstock. Missed a bunch this second half. Really the difference maker in a lot of ways because they're just not getting rewarded going to the line. Here's a big post up.
And the two-step lay-in.
Yeah, she has a real ability to score from there, and the defense is a little bit stymied on what to do. But that unfortunately gives a 12-point lead going Rothesay's way.
So time, the enemy of the Woodstock Thunder.
Yep, now's the time where the grit takes place. You know, earlier in the broadcast, I mentioned that it's really the second half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter where the fitness becomes a bigger part of the game than the actual skill. And teams that are able to put girls on the floor and have all kinds of energy late in those games are going to win, especially on a weekend where this is your fifth game.
Lead up to 15 now for Rothesay.
Great inlet pass there. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Woodstock has to stop the scores right now. They cannot give up a basket. I know there's 6 minutes left, 5:48. This would be a backbreaker.
And Woodstock taking a timeout after that three. Going to try and regroup and kill any momentum that was maybe starting to build for Rothesay with that triple. But as you said, very tough shot to have drained on you as you're trying to chip away at a lead.
And again, it becomes part of that fitness equation where these girls are playing the fifth game of a weekend. And there's not too many times I recall even coaching a fifth game in one weekend. This started on Friday night. Some teams played on Thursday. So there was a few early games on Thursday at FHS. I think Harvey High played or was supposed to play. I know FHS JV played. And so there was some early games. But for the most part, these teams started playing late Friday afternoon. And here it is Sunday afternoon, and they're playing their fifth game. And especially for the starters, they've got to be a certain amount of fatigue, playing in the equation, and I'm going to guess that the team that has the momentum, which is Rothesay right now, starts to get a little bit more energy. And when you see a 3 go in, like they just did from the Woodstock side, you might start to feel a little exasperated.
Yeah, it can be very deflating to see that 3-pointer go as you think you might be starting to gain some momentum. You know, they had some nice offensive looks there, but when it comes to basketball, you got to get stops. And if you can't get stops, you're not going to be able to win.
Just seen another example of the presence of Allison Doucette there on the baseline, just contesting every shot. Allison Doucette put up the 4 fingers. She's got 4 fouls, but I'm wondering if there's a discussion going on between the scores table about how many fouls Allison Doucette has. Because that would be a game changer if she was to foul out with 5 minutes left, because she really has protected that rim so well for Rothesay.
And having that backbone for your defense is so key. Just relieves any sort of pressure from the perimeter defenders. You know, you're obviously, you don't want people to get by you, but it gives you that extra little confidence to get out and contest a shot and know that if you are blown by, you've got that rim protection inside. You don't have to worry about the fact that you might give up an easy layup.
You're right, and then not only that, but when Woodstock comes down into the paint, you know, they don't have as much confidence that they're going to be able to get a ball over her. And there it is again. Now that's her 5th foul. Yeah, both hands coming up from the scores table. She's
And she could tell as soon as that whistle was blown, she was like, "Oop, that's my bad."
And that's too bad, because I've been really enjoying watching her play in that post position. I guarantee you there's not a person on the Woodstock bench that is sad about that foul situation. That could be the start. Here we go. 55-69. They've got 4 minutes, but again, the equation starts with stops. And if you've got no stops, you've got no success. So here they are.
Ooh.
Football, Woodstock ends up with it. And again, it's the spark plug for this Woodstock team. Anona Fernandez doing a really good job. I got some bad news for you, Philip. You've been the only tweet that I've gotten so far today.
Oof. Ouch.
Yeah, I've had actually people come up to me during the intermissions and say, yeah, I got a note from someone watching in Woodstock. They wanted to tell you this. So there are people listening and watching. We do have that.
They just hate Twitter. Yeah. Or you. I don't know which one.
Well, it's very likely one or both.
I'm probably not the second one. And another stop for Woodstock. They're getting the defensive stops they need. But if they can pair it with some buckets, they'll be in business.
They're going to pair it with buckets quickly, though. They don't have 25 seconds each time. That's a big one. You and I have seen 10-point leads erased in 2 minutes, and that's easily done here. And we've got a very veteran Woodstock team. Lots of playing experience, good championship experience as well, and of course, well coached.
But that is a bit of a dagger. 3-pointer. Just as Woodstock are starting to gain momentum again. It seems every time they score a couple baskets, Rothesay comes down and drains a 3.
Yeah, and we didn't see that in the first half. I mean, we saw some decent shooting, but everything was pretty much at the rim. And now, you know, Rothesay's lost their post player to foul out situation, and they go outside and end up draining a 3, and they've drained a bunch. I wish I had a live stat available to see exactly what the number is, but they've shot the ball incredibly well this second half.
So it seems to be an 11-point game according to the score clock. 3:28 left to go. Then we've got the men's finals coming up.
Big entertaining game before this one. FHS taking on East Hants. East Hants playing in the Division II League in Nova Scotia, and of course FHS playing in the in AAA or Division I, if you want to call it that. 5 dunks in the game.
Whew.
Malcolm Christie put on a clinic from the dunk, and even a bang off the backboard catch and slam, which is something you don't often see in our venues in high school basketball. But it was certainly entertaining for the crowd, and I could just hear your dunking voice coming through the mic because you do have one of those. Critical for Woodstock to get a score here. 3:13 left.
And the second attempt draws a foul, stopping the clock, getting a couple free throws.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier too, right? The wisdom of getting that offensive rebound, and while the defense is on their heels, putting that ball back up. And that's exactly what the Woodstock player did and gets rewarded by going to the line. Now, the challenge that Woodstock's had this second half is they've not shot well from the free throw line. And when the coaching staff goes back and looks at this game and looks at the score sheet, they're going to know that that's really where the miss was.
And 2 free throws coming up.
Yeah, I think only 1 second ticked off the clock there.
The first free throw doesn't drop.
Second goes, so 70-60. I've seen that happen a lot of times on the press. Someone breaks out on the wing. So you know they're uncontested to the hoop. That happened here.
And a good take, just couldn't get it to drop.
Yeah, very good take by the Woodstock player to get down the baseline, but just a little bit too soft off the glass.
And Rothesay could really just slow things down here now if they wanted to. Time well on their side.
Yeah, 12-point lead, 2:36 left. It's not in the books, and I wouldn't say that to the Woodstock fans either that are listening. There's a chance here, but again, it comes down to scoring opportunities, and there's a mathematical equation that goes along with that. I used to sit beside Coach John McAloon, who would sit down and talk about points per minute and defensive stops, and he would look at the clock and he would know when a game is safe. Now, clearly, you don't advertise that, but there are certain things that just really revert to math, and here we are.
And a great take.
Is that Rothesay is down 14 with 2:08 left. So that's going to be a difficult equation for Woodstock to overcome.
And they're getting the shots up. 2 points there.
Not stopping the clock after a made basket will cost Woodstock some seconds. But
And a great steal. And a foul on the break. Head coach for Woodstock, frustrated with his team's press there, wanting to get into it quickly. That is the real key, right? If you even have one person who is not in it, that breaks the entire thing and makes it almost a waste for the other 4 players who are set up. So essential to set up quickly, but worked out here from the steal. Stops the clock too. And he's coach looking for pressure, but Rothesay, good job bringing the ball up the court.
no hurry to get to the rim. That was well played. Rothesay knew they don't have to score again to win this game.
Just have to play smart basketball, patient basketball. And Woodstock now going the other way, got the stop, though it cost them 24 seconds. Nice pass inside.
Not stopping that clock after a made basket again. It's costing Woodstock a few seconds here. minute left in the game. 10 seconds on the shot clock. This is a 3.
And that could be the dagger there. Pumping it back up to a double-digit lead with under a minute to go. Just really patient, really intelligent offense from Rothesay there. You know, not willing to take a quick shot, but when they had an open look with under 10 seconds left on the shot clock, they made it count.
And really, their offensive decision-making has changed with about 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Before that, they struggled to get into a groove and into any kind of rhythm of scoring. And you would have to say, even in this fourth quarter, that they've had a really good rhythm of scoring, even after losing their post player to fouls. They've done a great job of breaking the back of Woodstock, shooting those threes, and certainly not rushing the play. How many times have we watched teams rush shots when they're only up 3, and having a team get back into a game just because their opponent rushed shots and gave them back the basketball? And it doesn't look like Rothesay is going to do that with 54 seconds left in the game, leading 77-65.
And that really is the key when you're trying to hold on to a lead, is just not turning the ball over. When you turn the ball over, that gives the other team transition opportunities and an ability to score really quickly. If you just take care of the ball, and even if you're not getting great looks, you're still not giving them easy opportunities the other way.
It's kind of the story of Woodstock. You know, they had a few balls just bounce out of the rim. In fact, Rothesay had that in the first quarter, just balls that should have gone in that didn't, and sort of been Woodstock's challenge.
Woodstock still applying pressure.
Both teams full of great competitors, a really great game to watch.
But Woodstock letting the clock wind down. Rothesay, rather.
Yeah, 13 on the shot clock, 25 seconds in the game. 10-point lead. Something catastrophic would have to happen in order for this not to go Rothesay's way. So, foul by Anoa. Makes the first.
So 17.3 left in the game.
The difference between making them on your end and not making them on the other end. 13 seconds left. Woodstock will make one last attempt at a shot, I'm guessing. More for pride than anything else. Woodstock coach telling the players about that. So thanks for tuning into that one. If you wanted to reach out and you didn't like my Twitter handle, try using @PhilGross. Have a good night, folks.
Have a good one.
That one doesn't go up.
Just go like this.
So it's these two.
Yeah, well, those are the two that were just on. Put them back on so we know which ones, but yeah, these two.
Let's go eat. Did you eat?
No.
game, Woodstock, state. Woodstock All-Star number 7. Player of the game for Rothesay, number 12, Allie Lewis. And All-Star for Rothesay, number 14, Allie. Rothesay MVP, number 12, Allie Lewis. I say,